on Germany's new export hit, we're joined by Felix Matthes from the Institute for Applied Ecology here in Berlin. Now, German insulation panels in Dubai. How do you explain that a German mid-sized family company managed to carve out that kind of niche for itself?
Well, Germany is a cold country and we have a longer tradition on insulation to save energy. And because of this, technology was developed, technology has improved, and now technology is exported. There's a certain logic behind.
And of course, it's also being used here at home in Germany to keep the cold out. However, insulation is an important part of Germany's energy revolution. The government hopes to save heating costs of some 80% by 2050. That's quite ambitious. But a study which we're going to see now, it states that insulated houses can actually expect a drastic reduction of their heating costs over a period of 20 years from an initial 107,000 euros down to just about 20,000. Other studies, however, say the opposite. That's a bit confusing. So who's right?
Now, first of all, we have to consider that 30% of the final energy demand in Germany comes from buildings and 15% of the overall greenhouse gas emissions. And if we want to cut greenhouse gas emissions, there's no way to bypass insulation. And the key question on insulation is, what is your assumption on future energy prices? Because it's capital intensive, you have a lot of front investment, and it has a long lifetime. And so the key question is, what is your assumptions on the future energy prices? And that gives you the result in terms of how efficient this is in economic terms.
Now, let's say that energy prices are rising in the future. What kind of insulation do you think is best for a house?
That depends very strongly from the buildings, because we need to optimize the heating system and the insulation, and that will result in very different technologies for different buildings, and that is one of the key drivers of innovation in this field.
Now, what about a health aspect? There is a bit of a controversy here in Germany because we use for the cladding process styrofoam, which can be poisonous, is also easily inflammable. All in order to save energy costs?
It's depending on the proper building and construction work. And if this is done properly and if the insulation is properly optimized with the heating system, there will be no major health systems or other problems that are exemptions at the moment and will be exemptions in the future.
Now, who is actually carrying the costs for such an insulation process?
There are two sources. The first is there's a certain payback by saved energy costs. And secondly, we give major incentives from the state budget to enable this long-term renovation process, because we have to bear in mind the modernization cycle is about 30 years, and there are certain windows of opportunities which are quickly closing, and therefore the state gives major incentives.
Okay, Felix Matthes, thank you very much for this.